Can you create a fully automated installation Proxmox VE OS? Yes, you can, and you should. It's easy. G'day gurus. I'll demonstrate how to install Proxmox VE automatically in an unattended manner, enabling full automation of the setup on bare metal. By using an answer file, we can define installation options including disk and network configurations. I will write the entire process into Attune using its powerful automation capabilities. Let me give you a brief introduction to Attune. It's an automated platform designed to streamline complex processes across multiple systems and operating environments. By connecting to local and remote nodes via SSH or WinRM, Attune executes scripts in languages like Bash and PowerShell. It breaks down complex tasks into structured steps. Attune is a game changer. Now, a critical component of the process is the worker, the machine that handles the tasks such as unpacking ISO files, adding drivers, and creating configuration files. This could be a separate remote machine or the machine you're working on. For this project, I'm running Attune on Mac OS and will be targeting a Debian virtual machine as the worker. Now, before we get started, I need some fuel. Let's get scripting. Okay, so this is my job that I've created in Attune to create a Proxmox VE 8.3 ISO with the answer included. The answer file is a TOML formatted configuration file used to define system settings like the root password, network configuration, and target root disk. There are 4 steps to deliver this. We first download the ISO from Proxmox. We check that the Proxmox Assistant tool is installed on the Debian worker. We then deploy the Proxmox answer file. I'll share a link in the description that can be found on my GitHub repository. And then we create the Proxmox auto install ISO. Now, in Attune, I want to make these jobs as reusable as possible. So we put parameters in place. So that's a parameter. I've already created this, so it already exists. I can click and go to that. So this is just a text-based parameter type. And if we go to the plan, we can see the plan for this job. These are all the various parameters that are used in that plan. And this is the parameter that is used, and this is the value. I'm just going to build, this is going to be the working directory, the temp Proxmox build. So the other parameters that we have for this project will be, we need a node. So this value is for the NOC that I'm going to build, where I'm installing Proxmox. This is the root user account with the credentials. Some of the settings in the answer file that wanted a mail to. We need a gateway and the DNS values, but I'll show you where they're deployed later on. If we go back to the job, so that's our make directory. We want to change directory. Now we want to download the ISO image. Now, one of the great things about Attune is that we'll print a log that we can see here in the middle. So I'm going to pad out the script to populate the log. Also check if the ISO was already downloaded, so that way this job can be rerun and run multiple times. There we are. So this will check if the ISO was already downloaded, and we'll write to the log if it is downloaded and skip. If it isn't, we'll write to the log and say we are downloading, download, and then whether it was success or failed. Save those changes. Let's run this individual step to see how it works. There we go. Download success. So we go to show all of the log. There's 28,000 lines in this log. So we can see the steps. Created the directory, changed to it, and then started the download. If we run this step a second time, because the ISO already exists, there you have it. Change to the directory. It already exists, so we skip the download. Creates a level of efficiency. Let's move on to the next step. Is Proxmox Assistant tool installed. So we're working on Debian. So install Proxmox Auto Install Assistant. That's the package name. Working in Attune, we want the log to be fluffed out. We don't want it to try the install if it's already installed. But if you're just following along in terminal, that's all you would need to write. There we go. We check if the package is installed. If it is, already installed. If it isn't, install. Let's run that step. Successfully installed. And again, if we run it a second time, it should check and say it's already installed. Not going to try again. Now on to the next step. I've uploaded the answer file to Attune. The answer file is being deployed. These are the parameters that are being substituted in the file with Mako. So it uses a Mako template with the Attune parameters matched up on the right. And it will be deployed to the worker-based directory parameter that we've configured in the values. And I've put some parameters in here to change. So that answer file is gated when it's deployed to the worker. That way it's reusable. If I create another job, I want to build another Proxmox server, I only have to change the parameters in the job and rerun this job. So I've got a few of these parameters in here. You can find this answer file. It's linked in the description. And what we can see in Attune is how the post process of these parameters being populated. So if we click on that, this is the answer file that will be deployed to the machine. We'll run that. And on to the next step. And finally, we're going to create the Proxmox Auto Install ISO. So we'll change to our working directory. In the arguments, we want to pass this. So what we want to do is prepare the ISO and the file we'll be referencing. So you could populate the version number. I just wildcard it. So if the version changes later on, this script will still work. Now the fetch from is regarding where the answer file is fetched from. And for this build, we're fetching it from the ISO image that's created. The automatic installer can retrieve the answer file from the ISO directly, a separate partition identified by its label, or a HTTP source via a predetermined URL or one queried from the DNS or DHCP. The name of the answer file is simply answer file terminal, and the output, I want to name the built ISO image kickstart underscore, and then the name of the server I'm building. That again is from a parameter set up in the plan, and that's it. I'll run this. And that has created our ISO image to build our Proxmox server. So looking at the worker, his terminal, I'm looking at that temp directory. That's our ISO that was just built. That's the Proxmox VE ISO that was downloaded. That's our answer file that we deployed. I believe that's a temporary file when it's building this. So if we look at the file through terminal, it belongs to the root user, and that was because this step to create the ISO file needed to be run with root privileges. We see here we have the parameter for a root user, and if we go and have a look at our plan, now that's to do with connecting to the worker. So if we go up our plan tree, we can quickly see that the root user is actually using a credentials that logs in as my non-privileged user, then sudos to root. That's configured here. So we go back to the plan. We want to change the ownership to the non-privileged user of that file. So if we go back to our job, if we look at the previous steps, they connected to the worker with a non-privileged user. We look at that, grab the script reference, go back to our job, back to our step. I want to show in that file. These text-based parameters, you just reference the parameter directly, but other parameters, such as a user credentials, are a bit more complex. So if we go to the online documentation, we want to look up our references, referencing parameters in scripts. If we go down, we find the OS credentials. We can see here, we want the user. So we want to grab the user variable from that. User, and then I want the same for the group. We'll just grab that ISO name. There we have it. And I want to print it out to the log. Just to confirm, if I save that and we run that step, built the file, and there we go. And that's it, gurus. With just a few steps, we've created a fully automated Proxmox VE installation ISO. From downloading the Proxmox ISO to setting up the answer file and generating the final automated ISO. This process simplifies and streamlines Proxmox deployments. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more tech tutorials and automation projects. I'd love to hear your thoughts or answer any questions, so drop a comment below. In the next video, I'll demonstrate automating the installation of Proxmox on a physical machine using the ISO we just created, all via a PyKVM interface. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.